Alright, another fake Sagan video, so might as well keep this, might as well play it as long as the instrument will produce some music, or sound, or noise. I'll keep plucking at it. Floppy goodness. This video hurt me a lot, but I watched the whole thing. Well, I appreciate that. I'm sorry about the hurt. I didn't really mean to hurt your feelings. I'm really just attacking a part of you. That's all. Just a piece. Some section of the idea section that's in your head. I'm really just I'm just attacking that. So a good part of you, as I've sort of said, structurally, you're one of these human devices that I see potential in. That I see, yeah, this thing could be something. And yeah, it's just that one part is just so poopy that ooh, yeah, just screws the deal. Anyway, some factual errors. Well, you know, no capitals in your sentences, so I would argue that you have some technical errors here also. Anyway, some factual errors I would like to correct for the record. Great. You claim that Dr. John Santos Saren's position is that all pain is created by the brain. Now, I don't think I meant to imply that, but I'm sorry if I implied that. You know, he just does a bit of screening. I mean, for the obvious. Okay, a guy's got a big giant spear in his spine. Yes, he's not going to say he's psychosomaticing. I'm just saying he's taking a whole class of people with back pain. That is, the ones that are tricky to diagnose, especially sciatica, because it's a hard place. You just need a tiny, tiny bit of shit gone wrong to get a whole pile of shit pain out of it. It's one of those places where just a little tiny, tiny, tiny fuck up fucks you up. Anyway, it even says in the news clip I showed that he screens for cancer and other causes first before assuming a psychosomatic response is the cause. Well, again, I'm just saying he puts a whole class of people who don't have any kind of dramatic defect into this class. And I'm just saying I would... my argument still goes that this is all quite meaningless until the good doctor fulfills his obligation to do a simple blind study of some kind. Even one with 50 people in it would be better than one with nobody in it. You really have no excuse for missing that detail, Mr. Philosopher. Sorry, I didn't miss the detail. I just was a little bit sloppy in my presentation of the circumstance, and I apologize if I implied he thought, you know, people that just got hit by a car and have their spine bent crooked are just being psychosomatic. Okay, I'm just saying that I think his underlying principle is that the brain is the primary player, and that in some sense, you know, even controlling blood flow to very specific locations and that kind of stuff, that's getting a little bit as an axiom of science, that's a little bit dicey. Anyway, you implied that I'm a creationist. I am not. It's like the idea that pills would work so much better if they could actually be that targeted. It's very hard to target things to the body. It targets an idea. It targets a circumstance. So the circumstance can exist in your wrist, your knee, and your ankle. And so instead of treating your wrists, you end up treating your ankles and your knees, and you know, that kind of thing. Well, anyway, you imply that I'm a creationist. I am not. No, I was just going by the fact that the Jesus story is tied to a whole big creationist theory, and Jesus didn't say creation didn't happen, and he did kind of imply that Moses was not a prophet, in the sense that he was just writing shit that God didn't necessarily write. So he did imply that Moses wasn't God-driven, but he never revoked creation story. I fully accept the reality of evolution, but of course I see intelligent design as the driving force behind it. Well, again, to do that, you'd have to accept a God who took 4 billion years to create his man from dust, and he did it in this manner where for 4 billion years, billions of organisms, literally billions of them, were disposed of. They were tortured and then annihilated. tortured and annihilated, tortured and annihilated, tortured and annihilated, tortured and annihilated, tortured and annihilated. This was all some sort of Mengelesque experiment of he made a Tyrannosaurus and he said, oh gee, that doesn't look nothing like a human. Throw that one in the garbage. Freeze it or whatever. Find some catastrophe to kill them all because I don't like them. These designs all suck. Give me some new shit to work with. Like Donald Trump, he just made decisions like that. Yes, no, bomb, nuke, flip a coin. It just seems like a reckless asshole. So that's my impression. So fine, you say there's somehow intelligent design. There's something intelligent in, you know, tying shit to the gurney and shoving probes in and seeing how much screaming you can cause. Okay, I don't think that's too fucking intelligent. You imply that I advocate painlessly watching brutality and harm. Well, I'm just saying that's the fundamental argument you're making, is that somehow I am incorporating the brutality and harm in the world, and I'm somehow over-exaggerating the pain-worthiness of it. That I have misunderstood, and it's not worthy of your pain, Gary. You shouldn't be bothered at all. It shouldn't give you an upset little stomach. It shouldn't make you all queasy and upset. And my argument to you is that I'm 978,648 million billion % under affected. That I am totally way too happy for how disgusting this ship is. This isn't, you know, not only is it not the good ship Lollipop, it is the horrible ship Mangula, and I should be at the rail puking every fucking day. I should be so horrified and disgusting that I can't keep my food down, I can't do it, I can't get a boner, I can't get anything. I should be impotent and puking constantly. Because that's the only appropriate response to this shithole we're living in. But you're arguing that somehow I should be feeling a whole lot better. I'm arguing I should be feeling a whole lot worse. If I had any real deep card character, yeah, I would be jihading for fuck's sake. And the fact is, no, I'm a bit of a selfish cunt. And I'm trying to do my best, and my best isn't nearly good enough, and I'll keep saying that. So the only thing I deserve is maybe not to have my grave pissed on, but I don't deserve flowers, or I don't deserve anybody saying anything nice. I just deserve not to be, at least he wasn't one of the sucky shit fuckers trying to justify this crap. That's all I deserve. No piss or shit. Anyway, brutality and harm, wait a minute. I do not, and I never have. Okay. Well, I'm just saying that's what you are doing. So you can say you never have, or that's not what you're doing, but you're basically doing that. Your whole argument was that my pain is making me not see reality, and that my pain is excessive. It shouldn't exist. It's distracting me from the truth. And again, I would argue my pain is, in my opinion, a huge underestimate of the true horrific nature of nature and the horror that goes on every day on this planet. The sentient organisms who are twisted into pieces experience just look, you could do the little sympathetic thing to music, put the panther in the cage in the Bronx Zoo pacing back and forth, and it's psychotic torment. That's all. That's what this shit is all the way down. Most organisms killed as children. Most of the organisms on Earth are killed as children. It's like we have a nuclear bomb that only maims and brutalizes children, and we're setting them off all the time. That's nature. Brutality and harm should always pain us, well, but not as much as it's paining me somehow. So I'm sitting here, you know, wanking my way through my life, and yes, I spend a little bit of time going, hey, let's not have this harm and horror stuff. Let's try to reduce that shit, because that's all bad, bad, bad. And somehow I'm fucking the dark, evil night of doom and misery. because I even bring this subject up. I can't even bring this subjects up on this fucking medium without all these la-la pussy shits showing up to say what a horrible, draconian, doomy, depressing piece of crap I am. So this is just silly. Anyway, brutality and harm should always pain us, and we should always be actively trying to reduce those things. Well, again, you know, the only part you want to reduce is the symptomatic part, the part that my fingers are sore from making Band-Aids. I don't want to make Band-Aids anymore. That's the only pain you want to get rid of. You want the pain that I'm making the Band-Aids for. Well, fuck that. But we need to accept the sad limitations. Well, you say you need to accept them. That's not a we statement, okay, in my opinion. No, we need to exactly, if I'm going to argue what we need to do, the we needs to do if we don't want to be shit on by history, if we don't want to be on the should have been pissed on thoroughly category, then we need to not accept it. We need to understand what the word unacceptable means, and so every time we hear that word, we have to pay attention and say, oh wait, that's one of those things that's not acceptable. We actually have to fix that thing. So yeah, accepting, not good idea. The sad limitations of our fallen world, and be content to do what little good we can in it. So this is just the 12-steppy thing. So apparently he must have gotten his religion and fixed his alcoholism at the same time or something, you know, or some kind of crap like that. And he realized, oh yeah, buddies, I feel you, and yeah, well, you know, we can all only do so much, so, you know, boosty, but, you know, let's not tear anybody down. Let's all try to stay positive, and let's all try not to be complete and colossal assholes, because that's good enough, right? It's okay to be an asshole, and it's okay to be a big fucking asshole, but let's just not be colossally big fucking assholes. Yeah, that'll be super. No, it won't be super. You claim that I hero worship Donald Trump. I claim that you grease and lubricate the skanky, diseased dick of the rich man in your pretense that you're going to save us from horror. No, you're not. I don't think Donald Trump is a hero of any means, but I do find his statements committing to diplomacy, his stated commitment to diplomacy and fostering good foreign relations to be admirable. This is the motherfucker, Donald Trump, who you must have seen the clip. I mean, he goes on the morning talk show and brags about fucking Gaddafi for a few $1,000. Yes, he's a billionaire, and he's such a great emissary for the United States of America that he screws a guy talking to the United Nations. On our behalf, he fucks him in the ass for a few $1,000. And he's proud of it because he's a good businessman. Yes, that's the diplomacy. He's demonstrated his brilliant diplomacy, right? He's basically said, look, we gotta fuck him. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know how you could even type that without saying, wait a minute, Fakie. There's billions and billions of incomprehensible, wiggly-waggly contradictions in that statement. You have to write better than that. Come on, Fakie, do better than that. Let's hope he remains consistent now that he's in office. Consistent to what? Again, he's going to try to screw people, and he's a dumb fucking 10-year-old, and they're just as he got fucked in the real world and, you know, had to rely on daddy and the bankruptcy courts to save his little butt, he's going to get he's going to get cooked. He's going to get fucking creamed. The guy is an asshole and an idiot. Those two combined. He's not going to win. He's going to fucking lose catastrophically. And it will be catastrophic. There seems to be two critical arguments in your video. At least two, but yes. One of them was you have to feel it to do something about it. And the other argument was that, you know, brain better than penis. To shed your anxiety disorder. Again, the anxiety disorder is, in a sense, probably a safety mechanism, because like the Black Panther, see, he's caught in a real cage with real bars. I'm not in a cage, See, and if I was actually had a sense of liberation, if I actually could go out into the world and tell the world what I think, I'd probably tell them what they think with a steamroller or some other big mechanical device that could squish millions of them quickly. I'm just saying, you're probably better off having me confined. Having limited opportunity. Because the more opportunity I have, the more likely is my panther nature would pounce. And I'd end up like the poor little chimpanzee that ate the woman's face off. I would end up having a bad day eventually. And somebody's face is gone. Anyway, to change your anxiety disorder would be tantamount to embracing apathy, and ceasing to care about the suffering of others. Tantamount to embracing apathy. No, I'm not making that argument at all. What I'm saying is I have a different understanding of my anxiety disorder and its curability. I have gone through therapy. I spent years fighting it because I had no life and I wanted to have a life. But what you learn through those processes is that there's again, I've already stated it. This is a conditioned disorder. And this isn't going to let go of me easily. This is like the movie. Oh man, how can I forget the name of the movie? Well, you know, that stupid English film with the hiddly-piddly talk. I'm starting to talk like that now. You know, the rape, the guy has to go through the reconditioning. Firefox, Electrocution 9, what the hell was the name of it? I think it had a number in there or something, didn't it? I can't believe it's boom, unaccessible at the moment. The hard drive is spinning, but it's just not doing anything. It's whirling, but just that's just amazing. Yeah, well, anyway, I could just sit here and wait, but, you know, there's no point in doing that. But you know what I'm saying. But anyway, see, but it wouldn't work. Because you couldn't recondition me because you can't create anything called a positive experience with human beings. There's no way to recondition me. Because there's no lie you could fool me with. There's no little images you could run and do anything to make me falsely think human beings were good things. That they were admirable creatures doing admirable things. You're never going to fool me. Anyway, you feel that I'm unfairly dismissing the value of philosophy with a generic fallacy related to your anxiety disorder. Yes, that's exactly what I sense you're doing. You're just wasting time with this nonsense about having a conversation with it. I consider it completely irrelevant. I didn't bring it up. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's a fucking personal symptom I have to live with. As a consequence of realizing I'm living in a horrible place, a bug planet. You realize you're on a bug planet, I'll guarantee you're not really going to have a great time. I would never advocate apathy. Well, I think you sort of are. Christianity hasn't made me care less about my fellow human beings. It has made me care more. Well, that's your testimony. Care more about what, though, I guess is the argument. And maybe it's not that you're caring more or less, it's just you're caring about different things. But maybe you are more distracted. I'll concede the point that you seem more distracted by some sort of philosophical conflict or dualism or dissidence. That's the word Anton would always use. You have some dissidence, for fuck's sake. I'll concede that point. More than you used to. You used to just have a bold confidence that everything's under fake Sagan control. And now you certainly seem like somebody on the boat going, I'm a little bit panicked. You know, it doesn't look quite right to me. It has done so by allowing me to see them for what they truly are. Okay, and you see them as being some sort of 4 billion years in the creation of some kind of magical, wonderful thing. And I see them as being just basically a smaller version of Tyrannosaurus. Once the veil of illusion covering this world is torn, we see the truth of things that can never look away and can never look away. Well, again, I don't see what you're seeing. That's sort of like a woman's thing, maybe, you know, chocolate and sparkles. So, yes, maybe you can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people most of the time, blah, blah, blah. You are one who told us about your anxiety disorder, Gary. No, I didn't, in any kind of way relevant to any kind of argument about what the truth is in the universe. It's not as if I have falsely claimed you have a mental disorder to discredit you. Well, that wasn't the argument I'm making here. I'm not saying you're discrediting me. I'm saying you're attempting to discredit the philosophy by implying it's a symptom of some sort of mental disorder. That's the implication. If you accept that your mind is broken, I accept that everything I possess is not exactly perfect. So in my definition, it's to some extent broken. So I'll concede that everything about me is to some degree or another broken. But I would argue that in a sense my distress, worry, my amount of doom, my overall sense of urgency is not broken in the excess amount. It is broken in the under-assessed extent. I am a lot less distracted by how bad things are than how bad things are deserves. How can you be so confident that your broken mind has produced a perfect philosophy? Because logic allows you to do that. Because there's different ways you can logically add up the 2 plus 2 thing, right? You can make 2 plus 2 out of blocks. You can make 2 plus 2 out of different things. And you can get there from all kinds of different directions mathematically. So logic allows a vehicle where you can test the cascade of the connections, and you can find ones that are broken or fallacious, and you use those rules of you know, to screen the knowledge base. And I'm just saying that obviously the simplest test is that I've placed it all here on the internet. I've dumped my shit right there on the internet, and I've basically challenged people, okay, well, find some shit in my shit. Go ahead, find the shit in the shit, and you know, you'll get the grand victory of humiliating me, and I'm an arrogant asshole, and I'm all these fucking things. So you'll be a little bit of a hero, and you might get a ticker tape. You might get a YouTube ticker tape parade if you could actually defeat me in an argument. So you know, if you could prove there's a whole bunch of shit in my shit. So if you can find a bunch of shit in my shit, then you can be a hero. So I guess that would be a test also. So I'm just saying there's lots of different tests for the integrity of my philosophy, and I'm just saying, obviously, I think of myself as being honest. I don't think I'm dishonest, and I don't think I have I mean, I've even listened to functionally retarded people's challenges to me. I mean, I almost give like anybody a chance. If they can barely even speak English, I'll give them a shot. So I haven't run from an argument. I haven't run from a challenger. There's no one sitting out there making videos that I'm not listening to or I'm not watching who are completely defeating me. Anyway, I've always hated your philosophy, Gary. Okay. So, yeah, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I have to understand what component of it. See, and so I guess one of the components is that obviously you don't think the animal thing is a big deal, and the 4 billion years of torment isn't a big deal. The pointlessness of killing, you know, 9,000 baby octopuses to make one octopus, that's okay. Who cares? You know, no big deal. It's good to kill 9,000 of something. 9,000 fully developed octopi. Squished, squished in all kinds of horrible manners, and that's okay, because that one is just so special. Anyway, I hated it when I was an atheist, and I hate it even more now as a Christian. Gee, big C for Christian, little a for atheist. Bigot. but I don't hate you. Well, again, I can possibly say the same thing. I mean, I never liked your silly, glib, fucking nihilist bullshit. And I found you to be just another guy making excuses for shit. And then irrationally, when you were advocating the completely irrational approach to existence. But again, I don't know if, I don't even think what you're doing now is entirely fair to call yourself a Christian, because I don't think Jesus, the Jesus I've read in the Bible, I don't think he'd have, I don't think he'd be a big fan of your, instead of that forgiving 7 times, 70 times, no, I'm going to do the Smith & Wesson thing. I don't think he'd go for that. But anyway, whatever. But I don't hate you. My intention was never to insult your intelligence. Well, I did. Yeah, intention is again not really what I was talking about. I was really talking about effect. So yeah, okay, I guess that could happen. But I think you knew that was going to. I really, it's hard for me to imagine that you would think I would be really interested in, you telling me it's science when it hasn't followed rule 1 of science. I mean, that's a little bit, that's taking it a little too far. I mean, when you do your research, you don't fall for that, right? You don't let somebody just draw a brain in crayon and say, see, the brain is connected to my big toe, and here's the crayon drawing to prove it. I mean, you wouldn't fall for that. Though you clearly don't think highly of mine. Well, that's sort of what it's at play here. There's a piece of your knowledge base that I'm objecting to. In the old nihilist days, it was the nihilism, because that was retarded, and now you've replaced the nihilism with what's a word that rhymes with nihilist that has to do with God done it. God will tell me what's valuable. God's purpose is the magic purpose. So yeah, it's so you've gone from a non-valuist to a wrong valuist. So I guess that would be my argument. I clearly have told you you're intelligent. That's why I'm having the conversation. That's why I find you an interesting challenge, in the sense that I'm saying, okay, here we are, 2 intelligent people. We're sitting here on planet Earth. We look around and we can observe things, and we can point to them and say certain things happened. And we have these fundamental different conclusions about what something is. I mean, we're pointing at the same little sunflower, and you're saying reptilian creature intended to eat our brains. And I'm saying, no, it's a flower. And then some other case, I'm the one saying, zombie, that is trying to, it's way too rapey. And you're saying oak tree. I'm just saying it's just, these contradictions are just hard to accept as being anything that should be possible. It shouldn't be possible. So I guess what I'm arguing is either we're both insane or one of us is insane, but it really can't, there ain't a whole lot of other choices here. That's about all that can be said is, you crazy, or me crazy, or we both crazy, but there ain't nothing else sitting here on the table. I acknowledge that you're smarter than I am and that you have more integrity and principle than I do. Oh dear. Yeah, well, again, I can't, this is another one of those things where, yes, I'm not going to give myself any credit for having any of this integrity and principle thing. I would say, yes, I have in principle, and I'm certainly doing better than the rest of the retards on planet Earth, but I'm just saying it's not enough. I haven't done well enough, obviously. I really haven't burned enough of my paws off. So I can't take any kind of real credit. Now, the smarter thing is, I have to just realize that I must be in some way smarter than an awful lot of people, because, frankly, I just never saw in my life somebody who could come on the internet and say the things that I'm saying that are completely different than what they're saying. And they can't make one salient challenge to what I'm saying. They can't make they can't do any better than saying, you on meth? Well, meth? How much meth do you smoke every day? I mean, they can't do better than that. I guess I'm just a naive, brainwashed retard who wants you to be happy. Well, if you want me to be happy, if that's your thing you want It's a waste of time as a want, I suppose. I mean, there's bigger things to want. There's much better things to want. There's wanting the world to quit squandering zillions and zillions and zillions of hours of torment and horror every day. And that's what's going on every day. Every day, the waste engines just grinding away in all kinds of pain and suffering and working extra out. I mean, people work 3 times as many hours as they should have to just to run the waste gears. That's just what the waste gears are producing. I mean, the actual work we're getting out of this device is pitiful. It's like having a car that gets 14 feet per gallon of gasoline. I mean, the fuel efficiency of the human organism and the human culture is disgracefully pitiful. So yes, want that to be fixed. Want that to be better. Wanting me to be happy is, well, thanks, but yeah, just maybe don't waste the want on it. Sue me, Gary. Well, there's no point in suing you. And really, frankly, it's just kind of silly to think you want me to be happy when I'm not going to be happy until I see the waste engine fixed. Until I see the waste stop, yeah, I'm not going to be happy. So until the human engine can, the human civilization can get something like 4 miles to a gallon, there's no chance I'm going to be happy. No chance at all. It has to get at least 4 miles to the gallon. And 14 feet is a long way from 4 miles. So happiness for me is a long way away. If you have made up your mind that your philosophical condition is intractable, well, I'm just saying I made up my mind based on years fighting it. I'm just saying, I mean, psychiatrists, drugs, the psychologist, therapies, blah, 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 reconditioning therapies, male psychiatrist, female psychologist, blah, 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 different attempts to try different things, blah, 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 blah. No fucking change whatsoever. I mean, just the tiniest minor, atmospherics. I've described it as being in a dungeon, and you crawl in the dark, and you're really not crawling up, you're just bouncing sideways. But anyway, irrelevant still. If you have made up your mind and you have resolved to remain in your cave forever, fetishizing your own suffering, well, again, that's sort of insulting, but yeah, I don't care. I honestly don't fetishize it. I just accept it as this is the condition I'm in, and I'm, in my opinion, for the kind of autism I have, the kind of negative thing I have, I'm really functional. So I'm just saying that's one of the good things about it, is at least I can still be functional in this circumstance. And maybe, like I said, at any moment it all could go south because, I just can't stomach it anymore. But I'm just saying, I mean, it's bad, but it could be worse. I mean, I think I'm being a little optimistic in the sense I'm saying it could be worse, and I'm saying, so I'm not doing that badly. Whatever. But don't delude yourself that your suffering is helping anyone. Well, I don't think I've ever made a claim that my suffering helps anyone. I've made exactly the opposite claim over and over and over again. I've always argued that it'd be really cool to be Mr. Spock if there ever was such a thing as a real Mr. Spock, and you could actually just turn your emotion key off and just be still motivated to do all the things that your emotions would have motivated you to do if you didn't have any. And I'm just saying that, yes, it'd be really nice just to be a nice little logic engine and just, spew out the logic and not have to worry about having any feelings and all that kind of crap to be hurt, and any ego or any other kind of crap to influence you. Yeah, that'd be all really swell, but that's not in the card, so why have a conversation about it? That would be stupid. So I'm not deluding myself that I think my suffering does any good, but I'm certainly going to argue that my discomfort with the state of the world is essential to me having the motivation to endure 10 years of this shit. Alright, even if your philosophy had any value, pro tip, it doesn't. So I'm not trying to be insulting, I'm just going to be a little bit insulting. Alright, even if your philosophy had any value, pro trip, it doesn't. I just, okay, so if I can use some kind of, I'll find some little dude kind of jargon and, just a flippant, do a little flippant thing. But again, your argument is that the idea that the mammalian creatures from which we had a lot of parallel evolution over the last few millions of years are somehow not doing any substantial sentient feeling, and they're not really being tortured because they somehow don't know what the word torture means. Whatever it is you're saying, I mean, that's all the stuff you're saying. Those understandings, those perceptions have no value. I'm saying it's quite the opposite. Yes, what we know has no value is some silly leprechaun story that you're replacing reality with. That has no value. It will never be for the masses. Well, again, the masses are what the masses are guided to be and what they're directed to be by the influencers, by the talkers and the purveyors of bullshit, the snake oil salesmen, the peep blowers, the other influences that are able to convince them that they have the answer, or they have the keys to the Mercedes, or they have the whatever that's going to set them free. And that's unfortunate, but obviously I think the masses could be educated. I think the masses can be informed. I don't think this is all that complicated. The facts of life on this planet aren't that complicated. They could put in a couple of documentaries, a couple of selected readings, and the masses can be a lot more edified, and in turn a lot more useful and functional, and less grotesquely inefficient in their squandering of suffering. Anyway, no one will ever accept it, and with good reason. Well, again, says you, there's obviously no one is a silly argument to make, because there certainly has been ones who have understood, who have been not only people who find it attractive because it's something that's been inside of them their whole lives, but many who were converted from exactly opposite positions. So again, the conversation I think is, I think I can win the argument. Put me on CNN, okay, once. Just put me on CNN once, and I bet I'll be back. And I'll be back. And I bet I'll be back. And I bet I'll be back. Because I think I am making an argument that's challenging the very core of the simple, silly, stupid notions, the delusions that have corrupted human progress and human accomplishment forever. They claim they like law and order, yet they want no accountability. I mean, these are so easy. These contradictions are so easy to point out. They're not going to be able to build a gladiator that can beat me. If you ever want to talk to me, send a private message and I will respond. Yeah, I don't really do the private conversation thing. I don't, if I really, I don't want to insult your intelligence, but like I said, if I really thought you had the keys of knowledge, and I could get some knowledge from Fake Sagan, then I'd say, okay. I mean, you're smart. I'm not saying you don't know who all these little dopey, the Teletubbies and the Smurfs of human history, all their names and stuff. So you know all kinds of that little fairy tale stuff, and I just know it in a very vague way because, it's kind of stuff that doesn't really intrigue me much. So yeah, so you have, your knowledge base is substantial, but yeah, it's just not it's the stuff I already, I read a few chapters of those books and said, no, there's no way this one can work out. This is, it's, it's like a bad instructional manual for, I don't know, fixing a 1922 Klunkenheimer. I just don't need to fix a 1922 Klunkenheimer. We can even just talk about cats if you want. Yeah, I don't really like, like I said, I find the cats to be an incredible pain in the ass. So talking about them, it just makes me think about them and say, oh no, I've already seen enough cat for the day. Thank you very much. I am Fluffy Kittenist after all. It's a good joke. But no, I appreciate it. I talk to some people offline from the internet, but it's usually just because they have to keep their identity a secret. They're they're secret people. And but other than that, I just don't. I mean, frankly, even my conversations with them, I'd rather just put them online because why waste some of my good jokes? But anyway, I'm sorry for the loss of your sister. Well, see, that's the tricky part there. I didn't really lose her to cancer. I lost her to Christ, so that's the joke, right? See, she was a regular, slutty, good-looking girl, and then she went a little too slutty, problem, then she went the exact opposite. So yeah, she just did that whole, whatever, 22 steps to becoming a vacuous moron, and so she 22-stepped herself right into vacuous moron. I couldn't even talk to her anymore because she was so full of Christ. She was just an annoying, obnoxious, judgmental, fascist, creepy bitch. So I had lost her long before the cancer. It's just a personal story. I know. That's why I just related. It's a personal story. I know because I saw the characters. It was right in my face, kind of a thing. So I can talk about it in a sort of a factual way. So, but this is the funny line, right? May her memory be eternal. So what part is eternal, right? The fun, happy, go-lucky-ish kind of charming, great laugh kind of girl that I knew as a child, or the draconian, oppressive, succubusy, bitchy, motherfucking fascist Christian loony. Yeah, I don't want to make that thing eternal. But that's the thing that died, right? So that's the zombie she was when she died. So I guess that's the zombie that should be eternal. I don't know. It's all very unpleasant. I guess this is just part of the life experience that you're just saying. This is just such a pile of suck. The crap that goes on here is just so ugly. My parents, well, my mother anyway, this Alzheimer's thing. They're leaving the planet Earth now, and it's just this shouldn't be part of this. Who made this deal? Donald Trump? Who made this deal? This is a Trump deal because we're getting fucked. Yeah, he's happy. Yeah, but anybody with a brain is fucked. So anyway, I think that's enough. Thank you very much for your comment. I appreciate the time you invest in the wordifying and whatnot. And, that's all I got to say. Till next time and such. If it happens, it happens. Whatnot.